What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. For today's discussion video, we have one hell of a beast to talk about. This is probably going to be the most exciting Rise of the Beast news round that I've done this year, because yesterday Takara Tomy went on an absolute rampage. They gave us our best look at some of the mainline figures, and they also showed us some terrific character posters of how our characters will appear in the upcoming summer movie, and they also show us some characters which we have never yet before seen. So very exciting times ahead, and towards the very end of the video, I'll also be touching base with some new Transformers Legacy Evolution news, so be sure to stick around for that. So first up, here we have some new official images. You know, Takara Tomy know how to shoot product shots, because these for gimmick-based toys look pretty incredible. So we have the Battle Changes Optimus Prime. I've already reviewed this guy over on the channel. Very impressed, you know, for a gimmick-based toy. I think these are some of the best that we've seen for a live-action movie. You know, decent detail, decent articulation, fairly simplistic transformation. Still not entirely sure why he has that kind of Beast Hunters truck mode, you know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see for the movie. Is it a design that we're gonna see, or is it just conceptualized? I guess only time will tell, but it would be so badass if he rescans into this towards the end of the movie to track down some of those Predacons and Terracons. Next up, we have the Battle Changes Rhinox, and I mean, every Rhinox figure we've seen for this new movie is literally an almost 10 out of 10 banger. They have not got one wrong so far, and this one is no exception. You know, I think this is probably the best adaptations we've seen for a Beast Wars character in live action, because it literally looks identical to that original 90s design, just with a shed ton of kind of additional mechanical surface detail. And yeah, his robot mode looks so cool. Love the paint detail, you know, the Rhino mode as well, incredible, very accurate to how we see him appear in the most recent teaser trailer, which took place in December. We're now coming up to April, so are definitely in need of an official trailer, Paramount. Cannot wait to see our next trailer. And then the next figure we're going to be talking about would be that of Bumblebee. Now, this was a figure that I think was leaked well over 12 months ago now, so it's pretty much old news, but much like Rhinox, much like Optimus Prime, looking really sweet. I'm looking forward to getting this guy. You know, I wasn't a big fan of the Bumblebee character until the Bumblebee movie. It definitely did kind of spin what I thought on him on its head. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of picking up more B toys. I like that this one kind of has the flip out arm cannon, and much like Prime and Rhinox, great detail in the robot mode and a really sweet kind of heavy duty looking off-road Camaro. Next up, this is going to be a 2-pack. So this is kind of those weaponizers, those Beast Alliance weaponizers. So you've got the standard base Bumblebee, which will be able to combine with this Snarl Saber. Quite an interesting character choice. I doubt we're going to see this in the movie. You know, this is purely just for the toy line, but you know, like I said, I'm going to probably pick up the majority of these Rise of the Beast toys, because this is one of my first live action movies when I'm doing reviews on YouTube. So you guys bet I'm going to review everything that I possibly can. Here we have kind of the armored mode, very Transformers animated-esque, I think, in terms of the head design. So yeah, these don't look too bad. And then the next image we have is of RC and Silverfang. Now, I said it when this was first shown off, I think this RC in her robot mode looks better than the core class, because it seems like she has no back kibble at all, and I imagine it's going to be a little bigger in terms of scale when in comparison to the core figure. So you know what, if you're after an RC to kind of stick with your Studio Series figures, I don't think this is going to be a bad shout. So we have an image of her in the bike mode, which I'm going to be honest with you all, looks monstrous. This is probably her weakest mode. I mean, maybe it's mistransformed, but considering this is a Takara picture, I'm willing to bet that it's more than likely not. So yeah, that doesn't look too promising. Next up, we have Optimus Primal and Arrow Stripe. So that white lion or tiger is not Tigatron. Why they didn't throw the Tigatron name on this is completely beyond me, but this is a figure that we've seen. I'll also have a review of this guy going up on the channel fairly shortly, so be sure to stay tuned to that. And then the next couple of gimmick-based toys we have to talk about are really awesome. I think these are probably the best ones that are currently out there. So we have Optimus Prime with Chain Claw, and this image shows Prime in his truck mode, along with Chainsaw in, I want to say again, a mechanized wolf form. The truck mode looks great. You know, the biggest thing I take away from this is that this is actually how we've seen him on the set of Rise of the Beast. So it does beg the question why there are two different types of truck for Prime in the main line. So I am kind of thinking that maybe that Beast Hunters truck will make an appearance in the film, and if it does, like I said, it's going to be sick. But here we have an image of Prime in his robot mode, and for a mainline gimmick-based toy, I think he looks incredible. You know, I'm expecting the same kind of quality as we saw from the Earthspark Warrior class Optimus. That was borderline a deluxe. You know, had they packed on a bit of ankle pivot, I would have been satisfied with that being my Earthspark Deluxe Optimus, and this one looks no exception. You know, really nice detail as far as the head goes. I think the proportions look great, and the way Chainclaw kind of transforms, it just throws me back to the Dark of the Moon video game, where Optimus Prime kind of armors up to take down Megatron towards the final battle, and he has this chainsaw which honestly looks exactly like this. So super nostalgic. Again, 100% going to be picking these up. And what's good about these kind of Beast Alliance weaponizers is that you can take Chainclaw and smack him onto any of your other mainline figures or even Studio Series figures. So there's going to be a lot of cross compatibility that you can do with these guys. And the biggest takeaway I get from some of these mainline drops would have to be of the upcoming Scorponok. Now, we very recently got an official reveal for this guy, but no proper kind of close-up images. This gives us our best look at that character yet, and in terms of this mainline figure, I think he looks awesome. You know, by far my favourite out of the bunch. And, you know, to be fair, I think he's the only one that could potentially, alongside RC, hold his own alongside some Studio Series figures. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be picking this guy up, and if he is kind of an army builder or a trooper in the movie, I'm going to be picking multiples of them. So yeah, the robot mode looks fantastic. You know, again, much like Rhinox, a pretty decent adaptation from Beast Wars into live action, and we also get some kind of clarification on what he will transform into. That initial reveal never showed off the Scorpion mode, so yeah, in terms of the Scorpion mode, I actually think this looks even better than his robot mode, especially with the Scorpion head. And is it just me, or does it look like he kind of has the grinder on the back of the neck, much like the 2007 live action movie Scorponok? So, you know, it's kind of hinting that maybe this is in fact a prequel to those Bay films. Again, I'm only speculating, we'll just have to wait and see for the movie, and it also gives us a bit of clarification on what his mate will transform into, Sandspear. So he too is a Scorpion, and I think you can pull the head off and it becomes some kind of spear-like weapon for Scorponok to use. I mean, it's a bonkers concept, but like I said, really cool for these mainline figures. And here we have some proper images of the mainline deluxe class Bumblebee, which too recently saw a reveal, but these just give us a much better perspective of all of its modes. So here we have the Camaro. I do believe this is officially licensed. It just looks too close to a Camaro not to be one. So you can see the detail looks great. You know, yeah, it's not streamlined as the Studio Series version, but I still think it looks decent, and it doesn't have no ugly forearm undercarriage kibble like the SS one. So I think there's going to be pros and cons to both. It appears to have some pretty ugly color matching where the paint of the doors are compared to the yellow plastic, but we've become accustomed to that with past Bumblebees. And here we have an image of him in the robot mode, which, had we not seen the Studio Series version, I'd say this looks pretty decent. And to be fair, it does look pretty decent. Not as good as the SS version, but yeah, not too bad details. I love how the wheels stack up on the back. That is one of the improvements that I can see on this when compared to the SS version. You know, they are a lot closer to the back of the neck like they are in the movie, so that looks pretty sweet, and I'll be intrigued to see the spin they put on the transformation for this guy when in comparison to the SS version. And much like that kind of battle changer version, you can flip the hand in to reveal a blaster. Now, it's not the biggest looking blaster, but again, throws me back to Age of Extinction, where they packed that gimmick into that deluxe figure. So this one looks pretty sweet. There's also an image of him utilizing some of his armored off-road components in the bot mode, so the roll cage can kind of become a shield, which, yeah, it doesn't look the greatest, but I like how the bash bar on the front can split into two daggers. That's really sweet. And I also like that they didn't skimp out and not give us the blaster. So yeah, we're getting quite a lot with this Bumblebee. Looking forward to this guy. Here we have an image of the mainline Cheetor, which too I should also have a review up going fairly shortly on the channel, so that looks pretty sweet. And then we'll just very quickly skim through these. You know, we've got the mainline Air Razor, very awesome looking figure, not gonna lie, probably in some regards better than the Studio Series from a design perspective. And now here are the proper one-step changes. Now, these were figures that we never knew were coming, and some of the Earthspark one-step changes we've gotten recently are incredible, so very much so looking forward to these. And there's also a new figure which we haven't seen, that being Nightbird. So she too's going to be receiving this kind of mainline gimmick treatment, and she don't look too bad. What I take away from this is that they're using the G1 color palette for this figure. You know, it's primarily grey and then bits of purple in the robot mode, and I think the vehicle mode for a one-step actually looks pretty cool. I mean, she has the spoiler, which was something that was kind of fudged together in the mainline release. So yeah, this one looks pretty sweet. And then just to round things off, we have some of the Smash changes. So we have Optimus Primal, which I'm not going to lie, these are kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I loved the Optimus Prime that come out for the Cyberverse series, but really was just a Rise of the Beast figure in disguise. So looking forward to this Primal. I think the Ape mode looks great. Robot mode, not too sure, especially where the mouthpiece lays. And then we get stuck into the Optimus Prime, which again, I've already reviewed, so check it out. And then the next one, probably the biggest reveal, is a Smash Changes Scourge. Now, unfortunately, this is a very minor retool of the Smash Changer Prime. I mean, it looks okay. I don't like the colors, I'm not going to lie. You know, the brown is just not doing it for me, and he kind of has two tones of brown, so there's a darker shade for the legs and then a much lighter shade for the upper piece. Yeah, not liking it, but I think the Terracon insignia in the chest looks sick. The head sculpt also looks pretty cool, and I think it's kind of impressive how they still got the quadruple stacks hanging off the back of the shoulders, so that's pretty cool. But then here we have him in the truck mode, and he literally does just look like a Beast Hunters Prime kind of garbage truck with a serrated grille, which the front part looks cool, but yeah, the color scheme is kind of kind of naff, I'm not going to lie. And those were pretty much all of the mainline reveals. You know, we have a few of these kind of target masters. So we have Cheetor here, which can turn into a blade. We also have a Rhinox, which can turn into, I want to say, some kind of ass cannon. That's at least what it looks like to me, but very cool. You know, like I said, there's going to be a lot of cross-compatibility with some of these mainline Rise of the Beast toys. And then finally, just to round things off with, I think there is a Skull Cruncher, which I believe is the best out of all of these kind of target masters that have been shown off so far. He turns into kind of a Buster Cannon, which looks very similar to the Revenge of the Fallen Prime's gun. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with these one-step kind of gimmick-based toys, I'm not going to lie. I think all of them, for the most part, look incredibly strong. Hopefully going to be checking some of them out on the channel fairly shortly. But that's not even it, because after Takara Tomy dropped all of those, they then gave us a shed ton of character posters. So we're going to run through some of the ones that we've already seen, that being Optimus Prime, so we have him in the robot and the truck mode. These are the images that I think we're going to see on all of the packaging for the box art, you know, when we see the Studio Series version or the mainline. These are the pictures that are going to be smack bang and center. He looks awesome. I mean, that truck mode render looks so sweet. Cannot wait to see this guy back on the screen. We have another image here of Bumblebee, which we've seen before. You know, they're not using the off-road Camaro. This does just seem to be the regular 77 version that we saw from the, say, the 2007 movie. So we do know he's going to have two forms in the movie. I guess, you know, they're trying to hide spoilers, maybe. I don't know. And then the next image we have here is of Mirage. Now, no image of him in vehicle mode. This is interesting because I think the robot mode for the most part looks pretty accurate, but the face sculpt is way off when in comparison to anything that we've seen from the latest trailers. I mean, even from that Super Bowl spot, which was just focused on Mirage, we never saw him having this head. So I do think that some of these here are going to be a little inaccurate to how they'll appear in the movie, or maybe he'll have a battle mask. I guess only time will tell, but this head I think is the reference that was used for the mainline Mirage that was shown off a few weeks back, because remember that figure had a very different face sculpt to the Studio Series version, which had a humanoid mouth. So yeah, they're still going through some changes, which in terms of toys isn't the greatest, because I think we're going to be left with quite a few fair inaccuracies. But next up we have RC. We've already seen this CG render used on the Studio Series core figure, and this one looks close enough to how she appeared in the movie, so yeah, looking forward to her. But one of the ones that got me so excited was the Optimus Primal, because we've seen the ape mode, but we haven't really seen this CG render of him in robot mode, and it looks incredible. I like how he's using those kind of Beast Wars blades, you know, he's just going to be so sleek, slow, agile. Cannot wait to see Primal on the big screen. And we have him here with the mouth guard. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to be retracted. I think in the trailer we see him equip the battle mask just before he goes into that final battle, so you know, we'll just have to wait and see for the movie. But this looks pretty cool. We have an image of Cheetor. Unfortunately, they're still not showing Cheetor nor Air Razor in their robot modes. I don't know why, and the same can also be said for Rhinox. We haven't as of yet seen a proper CG render for Rhinox or Air Razor in the robot mode, but we've seen Cheetor on the back of the Studio Series box, so I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're refining the designs. I guess only time will tell. And now we get stuck into the Terracon portion of the video. So here we have Scourge in his robot mode. This looks sick. I mean, to be fair, it's nothing that we haven't already seen before. I think this is the CG render they're going to be using on the front of the box for the Studio Series leader, so that looks pretty incredible. You know, I love that kind of internal furnace he has. Cannot wait to see that in the movie, and you can kind of see these cracks in the shoulder pads and that furnace still illuminating, so this guy's just going to be on fire. And then next up we have a full body shot of Terracon Freezer. Again, we saw this on the Studio Series box art, so it's not too new to us, but one which is very new would be Nightbird. Now, we haven't seen an official image of this character yet, and she looks pretty sick. You know, in terms of her design, I'm loving it. It's very samurai-esque, definitely does evoke the ninja aesthetic that she had back in G1, and I think the colour scheme is spot on. If they keep this design for the final movie, I'm going to be very happy. And this kind of confirms that she is that flying character that we see in the final battle, because you can kind of see wings on her back, and where the wheels are, to me at least, they look like thrusters. I mean, it could just be something I'm seeing, but I do believe they're thrusters, and I like the head design as well. You know, I always thought it was Dreads, the way the helmet was designed. Maybe it's just overlapping panels, but to me it kind of gives me Dread vibes. You guys let me know down in the comment section below what you think. And then next up we have Battle Trap, which looks incredible, but that isn't even it, because these next three that we're going to be talking about, wow, when I saw some of these I was just so excited. So as you guys all know, to get from Brooklyn to Peru, the Autobots are going to be using Stratosphere, and we saw him in the latest TV spot for Super Bowl, but we didn't know if he was going to transform. Well, this pretty much confirms it, as we have an actual CGI render of Stratosphere in his robot mode. And I I mean, if it wasn't confirmed already that the Bayverse designs were coming back, I think this one pretty much solidifies it, because that is 100% a Bayverse design, especially with the moustache that's going on for the face sculpt and the intricate mechanical paneling that's going on in his face. I mean, this thing just looks awesome. Immediately, I'm thrown back to Jetfire. You know, this guy's aesthetic is so similar to Jetfire, especially with the whole old plane vibe. I just love this. I cannot wait to see a toy, and it's unfortunate that we haven't seen no toys for this guy. You know, maybe he'll come out once the movies hit the big screen, but I love how he's gonna got the thrusters smack bang on his back, and the way the propellers fold up is just nuts. So yeah, so excited here for Stratosphere, and we see our first Decepticon, that in the form of Transit. Now, I know there's a Terracon logo next to him, but if you zoom right into the face sculpt, he is sporting a Decepticon logo, and for quite some time it's been rumoured that Transit would be a Decepticon. For those wondering who he's going to be, without going into spoilerific detail, I believe he's a bus. I'm almost certain that he's a bus that will appear in the opening act of the movie, and again, you know, much like I said with Stratosphere, the Bayverse designs are back, because he has an insectoid bug-looking head. I mean, this thing literally looks like it's ripped out of Revenge of the Fallen Dark of the Moon. He has the mandibles, he has the quadruple insect bug eyes, he's kind of got mohawk going on with those weird antennas sticking out of his head, and I'm so glad to see the return of proper vehicle mode pieces on the robot mode designs. You know, that was something that was kind of phased out towards the end of the Michael Bay era. So awesome to see that back, and it just helps the toy designers to make it easier to translate that from screen into an action figure. So really looking forward here to Transit, and probably the most controversial out of the bunch would have to be Wheeljack, because this guy's been kept from us like nobody's business. Besides that deluxe toy that was shown off, we saw nothing of him in any of the trailers, none of the promotional material. Even that massive kind of standee that was shown off in one of the cinemas didn't have Wheeljack, but here we finally have an actual CG render of him, and he looks really cool. I'm sorry for those of you who don't like the design, but I love the design, and I wish I had this CG render when I put my review together for that deluxe Wheeljack, because it looks so accurate. I think they've done such a wicked job. Now, this is more than likely going to change once we see the movie, so take this with a grain of salt, but our best indication of how this guy's going to look, I love the head sculpt. I know some of you guys hate it, but it just reminds me of Elton John, you know, those big, massive, dorky looking glasses. I like the mouthpiece, you know, I like how he has door wings. I know it's kind of more Bumblebee's thing, but I think it works out pretty nicely for Wheeljack, and to go along with that dorky aesthetic, he's also got braces which plug into his chest, which I think looks really cool, and yeah, I just think his robot mode is fantastic, and we also have the Volkswagen, so yeah, nice to see most of those VW parts on him in robot mode. And then just to round things off with, we're going to talk very briefly about Transformers Legacy, because there was a new fan exclusive product that was hitting retail before it was even announced, and it was a Transformers Legacy War Dawn 2-pack, which is comprised out of Ariel, aka Alita 1, and Dion. So these are kind of their pre-Earth form. You know, this is very early days Cybertron. You know, this is when Optimus Prime was still Orion Pax, and I guess the writing was on the wall when we got that Orion Pax and Alphatron 2-pack. This is very similar in terms of design. You know, as we come to the back of the box, I was so bummed out to see that Ariel is going to be using that Prime Universe RC mold, because I hate it. I'm sorry, I just hate that mold with an absolute passion, and initially it looked like there was a lot of retooling going on here, but I don't think there is. You know, the forearms and the hands look different, and the backpack looks different, but the legs look identical and the chest looks identical. I'm not looking forward to that figure at all. Now, they're using the weird title of Ariel. You know, the way they've spelled it is without an A. I think it's something to do with trademarking with the Disney movie or something, but yeah, I mean, I don't know about this one. I'll have to reserve my judgment for when I get it in hand, but I'm pretty much looking forward to Dion. You know, that figure looks pretty cool. It does use Cup as a base mold, so it's going to be very similar to Orion Pax. You know, damn, they've got their money out of that Orion Pax mold, and yeah, there's a bit of retooling going on for the back, but other than that, you know, the robot looks very similar, besides maybe the forearms. I think they've just popped them off and given them a new sculpt. So, I mean, there's a lot of exciting news coming out at the moment. Of course, Rise of the Beasts is the big topic. You know, I'd love to get your thoughts down in the comment section below, what you guys think of both the mainline toys and the character posters. Out of all of the characters, I'm so excited to see more of Stratosphere, because he just looks like Jetfire, and I'm hoping the personality matches Jetfire, because he was one of my favourite characters from Revenge of the Fallen, and it's awesome to finally get a proper CGI look at Wheeljack. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming out. I'd love to get your thoughts down below, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.